Let me know if this sounds like you. Do you find most of the time and you go along feeling good, maybe for days, weeks, and then all of a sudden, almost out of nowhere, you hit this wall of depression and it just brings you down. And you're wondering, why does this keep returning? What is going on with me? Is there something wrong with me that I can do well, but then every once in a while the depression grabs a hold of me and I'm stuck there for days, can't get unstuck? Well, today we are going to look at what is going on, why depression is returning, and I'll give you some things to look for to give you an idea of what is causing this for you. But also, I'm going to provide a free resource to help you with the thinking that goes along with depression that tends to just pull you down deeper. So you can get started on that, get some relief from this depression. If you are new here, I hope that you will say hi and tell me a little bit about yourself and your situation. My name is Tanya Kordenbrock. I worked for years as a licensed professional clinical counselor, and right now I am doing online emotional wholeness coaching. And I am the creator of the Mastering Emotions program, where I help women to break free from fear, anger, and shame, to be able to love themselves, feel loved by others, and have a deeper relationship with God. And before we get started, I hope that you will go ahead and subscribe so that you can receive more of these life renewing teachings. If you are dealing with recurring depression, let's look at what it is that could be behind it for you. So if you normally get along fine, you're very functional, yet you have the occasional depression, one thing to look at is what you've had going on in your life recently. So one thing that we kind of forget about is if we've really been working hard. If you've had a major project that you have put all of your energy into that, all of your physical energy, your mental energy, your emotional energy, it's a big deal to you, then at some point you're going to become tired. And if you've been up here emotionally, then at some point you will calm down. And that can take you into a place of depression. Part of the reason for that is because your flesh, your body and your flesh is at a weak place. And so then you are going to default to some old patterns of thinking about life, thinking about yourself, thinking about how others view you. So you're going to be more susceptible of falling into that mode of thinking. Now, along the same lines, another thing you might want to consider is if you are becoming ill, that definitely will pull you down emotionally. And then also if you are taking medications that could cause you to become depressed. So you may want to check out the details of that medication, possibly check with your pharmacist or your doctor on that. Some other things that could cause depressed thinking would be a disappointment or frustration occurring in your life. Perhaps you had dreams of something good coming up, you've put effort into it, you're imagining how it's going to be, it's going to turn out great, it's going to be so fun, everyone's going to be loving, we're going to feel so close, but it doesn't turn out that way. So you're disappointed and it doesn't seem like there is any hope of this terrific idea coming about. Or perhaps you are frustrated. You have pushed and pushed and pushed against a problem and it is not budging. And so it's understandable that you would feel frustrated. But with both of these emotions, the disappointment and the frustration, what's going to matter is where that takes you. Now, with some people, they can look to other resources and figure things out. But for you, it could be that what happens is disappointment or frustration pull you down into that depressed thinking, that depressed mood. There are two other emotional causes that we're going to look at today. Those are hurt and anger. And how you respond to hurt and anger, again, is going to be connected to your own history and how you have learned to handle emotions, what you do with hurt and anger. Are you able to approach others and to work that out with them to get your emotional needs met? Or do you have a tendency to go inside of yourself, perhaps to shut down or to have self-blame that goes on? That is something that is part of a pattern that has been learned and needs to be changed. So if you are trying to cope with this depression that keeps returning, what can you do about it? Well, first of all, you need to understand that this type of depression that periodically returns and you get trapped in it for a day, for a couple days, that is different from depression that holds on for more than 2 weeks, or perhaps that, if you could say, well, I've been depressed for most of my life. This is going to be different. But if you normally function well, but depression keeps returning, keeps grabbing a hold of you at these key moments, for instance, when you are exhausted, when you're ill, that's going to be understandable, that's going to bring you down. But then also, when you encounter disappointment, frustration, hurt, and anger, and the way that you normally deal with those is that you go into a depressed state where you are shutting down, or where you can't, you become immobilized, or you also could have that self-condemning thinking that's going on. Plus, you're going to have all the negative thoughts about what others think, or about how life works and how nothing is ever going to come about in a good way. All of that depressed thinking. Then this means that something deeper is going on with you that needs to be addressed. This is showing that there is an ingrained pattern within you of how you respond to emotional upsets in life. This is a pattern that was learned long ago in your life, and it actually has even created neural pathways within your brain that are connected to the emotional part of your brain, your thinking, and how your body responds. So that when these triggers come, these emotional upsets, then it's going to kick in this pattern that's going to influence your mood, going to influence your thinking, going to influence how your body begins to slowing down and shutting down in its activity. So this is something that we definitely work on in my Mastering Emotions program. So you feel free to check that out if you're serious about bringing this change to these old patterns that you have. But also for today, I want to provide you a free resource that will help you recognize this negative thinking that is a part of this overall pattern that goes on with you. It's going to get outlined for you various categories of thinking that tend to show up when someone is depressed. It's going to help you, this guide will help you to track that thinking, to become more aware of its presence, and then also to change it. So I hope that you will check the link that I've provided here and get started on that today.